Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, dear colleagues, welcome. Very good afternoon to you all. My name is Maria Hlavajova and I'm artistic director of BAK, Basis voor Actuele Kunst in Utrecht, the Netherlands, the art institution that initiated the project Former West and headed up the organization of the second Former West Research Congress. On behalf of the BAK team and all our partners, I want to thank you for being here. And I'm truly humbled that so many of you have joined us. Well, during the first Former West Congress, for which we gathered exactly a year ago in Utrecht, in the days leading up to the 20th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, we looked back at the recent past through a number of exciting discussions. With the second Research Congress, we intend to change the tables and to engage ourselves with thinking about the future by looking at the notion of the horizon through the interconnections between art and political imagination. It is a privilege to bring this part, particularly this part of the project's research here. And I'm grateful for the presence and engagement of people from Istanbul and from the Turkish context. I very much look forward to our conversations ahead. Of course, I am also thrilled that so many people have traveled distances to be here. And besides, I can assume that there are many people joining us virtually by tuning into the Congress via our live stream. Taking the first Congress experience into consideration, with over 3,500 viewers, we can safely say that we are outnumbered by you, the digital participants. Well, warm welcome to all of you. Before we proceed with the program and I give the floor to our Congress co-organizers, I have an enormous list of people to thank and a somewhat shorter list of practical details that I would like to go over at this point. And so, the thank yous. Firstly, I'd like to thank curator and writer Simon Scheik, who in his capacity as a Former West Research Fellow has not only co-curated this Congress on horizons, art and political imagination, but in fact provided its intellectual framework based on his ongoing research on the concept of the horizon in relation to exhibition making and its conceptual histories. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all Congress contributors for their willingness to be here and share their insights and debate with us. My sincere thanks go to all my colleagues at BAK, Basis voor Actuele Kunst, who have once again gone far beyond the call of duty in realizing this Congress and who have made the project Former West their own. BAK is a young institution made up of a handful of truly remarkable people, and I'm truly indebted to their hard work and their belief in what we do, which is inquiry into the meanings generated in the interrelations of artistic production, knowledge, and political imagination. I would like to specifically thank Wendel ten Arve, project manager, Cosmin Kostinaš, curator, Arjan van Meeuwen, executive director, Vivian Rehberg, research curator, Susanne Timmersma, project coordinator, Jill Winder, curator of publications, and the other members of the BAK team, Marlies van Haak, Flora Lissen, Ellen Philippe, Marike Kuik, Dorine Snape, Matteo Lucchetti, and intern Nova Benway. Also, I'm sincerely indebted to BAK's board for their openness, generosity, and support. That said, BAK can realize a project of this ambition, complexity, and international scale only through engaging in collaborations with a variety of international partners who have all generously contributed their expertise, resources, and time to making this Congress possible. The second Former West Congress research is co-organized with SCORE, Foundation Art and Public Space in Amsterdam. I'm particularly grateful to SCORE's director, Fulya Erdemci, a person who is, of course, well known here in Istanbul, for her enthusiasm and readiness to support this undertaking. I'd also like to thank Christina Lee and Astrid Schumacher, as well as the entire team and board of SCORE. In addition, the Congress is realizing collaboration with Istanbul Foundation for Culture and Arts in Istanbul, an indispensable local partner. For their hard work and dedication, I'd like to thank Director Bige Örer, as well as Kevser Güler and Ebru Tiftikşioglu. Last but not least, I want to thank our host, the Istanbul Technical University, for their hospitality and making available this amazing space for the next few days. I specifically want to acknowledge Pelin Tan, who is a researcher in the history of our department, as well as Professor Arzu Erdem from the Faculty of Architecture. For financial support, my gratitude goes to the European Union Culture Program, the Mondrian Foundation from Amsterdam, Erste Stiftung in Vienna, the Consulate General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Istanbul, with special thanks to Culture Attaché Daniel Stork, and the city of Utrecht. And now, please bear with me for a few more minutes as I touch upon some practical details. Firstly, the entire Congress proceedings will be simultaneously translated. While the Congress contributions will be delivered in English, questions from the audience may be posed in either English or Turkish. So I would ask that everyone make sure to have a headset, and if you do not have one, please feel free to step out to pick one up shortly. As we are hosted by the university, I'd like to ask that all of us keep in mind that classes all around us are in session. So let us be good neighbors. Please make sure your mobile phones are switched off, important. And I also need to point out that smoking is prohibited in the building, but the good news is, for those who do smoke, that there is a beautiful courtyard just outside, which you've probably already seen. As you might have as well noticed by now, beverages are available for us throughout the Congress, so please help yourselves. In addition, you all invited to join us for lunch on each of the Congress days. Specific times you'll find in your program. The Congress program, as you for sure noticed, is extremely full. We've asked the contributors to stick to their time limits, and we will also try to keep things moving as much as we can with the help of great moderators for each day. You can help us by returning to your seats when scheduled breaks are over, and please note that the door to the auditorium will be closed so that the proceedings are not interrupted. Please also wear your Congress buttons so they are visible. They function as your entrance. And I want to let you know that my colleagues are wearing white buttons, and you may approach any of us if you have questions or need anything. We're happy to be of help. Last but not least, I want to remind everyone that we are live streaming this Congress at formowest.org. Thanks to a remarkable team of City TV Eindhoven to be here. Those of you watching who would like to contribute to the discussion have the possibility to post questions or engage in discussion on Facebook or via Twitter. Please make sure that every post related to the Congress should include hashtag #FormerWest or #FW Congress. And now, without further ado, I offer the floor to Fulya Erdemci, Bige Örer, and Professor Arzu Erdem. Thank you.
Merhaba, sevgili konuklar, katılımcılar ve sevgili arkadaşlarım. Size burada İstanbul'da merhaba demekten büyük mutluluk duyuyorum. Konuşmama sempozyumun ortak dili İngilizce olduğu için konuşmama İngilizce devam edeceğim. Dear guests, friends and participants, I am very happy to welcome you in my own city, Istanbul. I do hope that for the following 3 days we will think, talk and discuss together on horizons that we are truly, almost desperately calling for. The selection of Istanbul as the venue of this very specific edition of the former West is not a coincidence. Although Istanbul has certain common denominators and history with the Western and Eastern Europe, it cannot be confined in neither definitions. It's one of the most complex metropoles around the globe, with its ever-growing population due to the phenomenon of immigration for the last 30 years. With the combination of transnational investors, small and big industries, the informal economies, and traditional structures and values of the society, Istanbul provides living for almost 18 million citizens that whose standards most of us cannot even imagine. This magically operating and changing organic body, like a spider lost one of its legs, readapts itself each time based on the life created by its daily use. Not through a planned ground up or a top-down master plan, Istanbul develops through the instant improvisations of its citizens. It's a place where a constant loss and birth of horizons is at work. The fall of Berlin Wall in 1989 points out a demarcation line and symbolizes the loss of a world and a future prospect for the majority of humanity. Now we are not left with so many alternatives. Maybe a hedonistic materialism for the present, or an agonizing hopelessness for the future. Can there be any alternatives than capitalism or the liberal democracy? As the well-known quote attributed to Slovak Žižek and Frederick Jameson by Mark Fisher posits, it's easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. Is there really no alternatives, no horizons? When Maria approached me last year with the idea of realizing the second edition of the former West on Horizons in Istanbul, I was thrilled with this idea of bringing together the most critical minds, thinkers, creators, and practitioners from all around the world in Istanbul at such a place where nascent horizons are at work constantly. I do hope that Istanbul will be an inspiring ground for these 3 days, that we will discuss the notion of horizon from political, artistic, theoretical, and spatial perspectives. It's particularly interesting for SCORE to be able to think together on horizons towards a culture of space on the second day. The former West Research Congress, as Maria mentioned, is based on the research of Simon Scheich and is developed and organized by BAC, Basis for Actuele Kunst, and SCORE, Foundation for Art and Public Domain, which is based in Amsterdam. It's realized in collaboration with Istanbul Foundation for Culture and Arts and hosted by Istanbul Technical University. Shortly, I would like to thank all the participants of the Congress, all my colleagues from BAC and SCORE, and to Maria, who asked us to join forces for such a urgent inquiry. And lastly, I would like to thank you all who are willing to walk together with us through the long and inspiring journey of the second former West Research Congress. Thank you. I'm giving floor to Bige.
Sevgili konuklar, hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Burada İstanbul Kültür Sanat Vakfı olarak bu değerli kongrenin bir ortağı olarak çalışmak bizi çok mutlu etti. Bir sene evvel Maria ve Fulya Eski Batı Kongresi'nin İstanbul'da düzenlenmesini bizimle paylaştığında gerçekten hem çok onur duyduk hem de çok sevindik ve mutlu olduk. Ben kısaca tüm değerli konuşmacılara, tüm katılımcılara, bu kongreyi düzenleyen SCORE, BAC, İstanbul Teknik Üniversitesi ve emeği geçen herkese teşekkür edip sözü Pelin'e bırakmak istiyorum.
Merhaba, ben Pelin Tan. Arzu şu anda ders veriyor, kendisi yok. Ben Arzu ve İTÜ Mimarlık Fakültesi ve İTÜ adına burada olmanızdan çok memnunluk duyuyoruz. Umarım, yani hava çok güzel bu hafta şansımıza. Umarım bu havanın da, güzel havanın zevkini çıkartırsınız. Fakültedeki avlu her zaman iş arkadaşlarımla son 10 senedir her zaman bilimsel tartışma ya da entelektüel tartışma yaptığımız yerdir. Umarım siz de bu deneyimi burada 3 gün boyunca yaşarsınız. Teşekkür ederim. Bu arada BAK, SCORE, İKSV'ye ayrıca teşekkür ediyorum. Siz de geldiğiniz için çok teşekkür ederim.